So this video is going to be a tutorial. This is a deep dive into how to use Code Interpreter to become a data scientist without needing to know any data science. So we are going to be uploading CSV files. We're going to be downloading additional things as requested from ChatGPT to make special graphs, to do cool things, and then the goal is to actually mimic this blog article. It was written by Armin Madani. Now I'm going to assume that he has some serious data science background because you'll see in the blog that he puts together a lot of beautiful charts. He cross-references it with other data sets like the census data, right? Storytelling, having a compelling narrative, compelling data to work with. And what's more interesting than the 1,600 irregularly banned books this year? Because irregular books are not the ones that were removed because they were too violent or sexual. They were removed for ideological reasons. So we're going to deep dive into the data about what was removed to see if we can learn something about the ideology of America. But it's not just interesting, I want this video to empower you. Because it's important to know that before things like ChatGPT with Code Interpreter existed, which is like 2 weeks ago, when you read an article like this, a regular person didn't have the skills necessary to actually double check the numbers. But guess what? Now, regular people do. So we will be double checking all of his numbers. Now to Armand's credit, he's made this easy for us because he's provided the data. So look, here's a Google Doc to a spreadsheet that should generate all of the same information that we have on this post. So let's dive into it because I'm going to show you that even if you're not a data scientist, you now have AI at your disposal and you can do some amazing data science. So let's take a quick look at what the spreadsheet looks like. Columns for the author and title. The type of ban could be pending, classroom, or library. The state and school district. The district's population, the data was removed. A description of the book. Some additional district information, including the amount of children affected, the population, and the estimated population, and then an explanation of the columns. Let's start by seeing how easy it is to recreate this kind of a graph that we see at the top of the blog post. It's essentially a map of the United States where the darker the state is labeled, the more books are banned. So you can see Texas, Florida, Pennsylvania, they have over 500 banned books based on ideology. So to get this same kind of insight from ChatGPT's Code Interpreter, I'm first going to click here. And once the Code Interpreter is enabled, you can see the little plus sign down here in the chat box entry. The banned books spreadsheet, upload. So I'm going to try this as a starting prompt. Okay, so let's just try it like this. Find out how many books were banned in the US and then make a map of the United States and color each state according to how many books were banned. So this Python data, the data frame is the same thing as an Excel sheet. It just lets it understand what the data is. Then here it isolates the right column and does the counts. There you can see the output, totally right. Now it goes on to use GeoPandas and Matplotlib, which are two libraries inside of Python to try to generate the map. It gets a sandbox error, meaning the environment that's inside of this, Code Interpreter isn't everything that we could have access to. So it gets a little stuck. It tries a different data set to see if it can get through the problem, but realizes that without internet access, it can't download the geographic data set of the US to generate the map. So now we have a couple options. We could take the code that it generated here and just run it in Python. And we could do that by just going to Google Docs, opening up CoLab notebook and actually just pasting it in. So let's do that first. So inside of any Google account, you can go to Google Drive and then you can actually add this CoLab under here for like connect more apps if you don't see it. This will bring up an online IDE, which is basically a place where you can run Python. Okay, so first we'll just upload the data so it has access to it. And because that string matches the same name as what we uploaded, there you go. We got it. So how cool is that? There's the US states. You can see it goes from blue to red based on how many books were banned. But hey, I'll show you another way. We could have actually done it inside of Code Interpreter. So I just did a Google search for a US shapefile, found this link. I downloaded the shapefile. Now I'll just upload that to Code Interpreter. We'll see if it can figure out how to actually just make it now that it has the data it needs. Can you use this shapefile to make the graph inside of Code Interpreter? Okay, we kind of knew this, but we also need the SHX and the DFB, but they're here. Okay, so now these are the three files that it needs to generate. So fingers crossed. Okay, it seems like the column names that I use in the state do not exist in the shapefile you provided. Okay, so it tried to reformulate the way the data is organized. So it thinks that it succeeded. Here's a map of the United States colored according to the number of books banned. Okay, let's see if maybe the rest of the files in the package help. Okay, so it thinks that, oh my gosh, it got it. That is incredible. So it recognized that it's not all in caps in both columns. Wow. Shut the front door. This thing is so cool. All right, man, we did it. We did it without touching code. Really, that's insane. So next in his blog post, he shows us a sample of what the data looks like. So we should be able to mimic that easy. So can you show me a sample of this data from the columns, title, author, maturity rating, and format them nicely for a blog post? I got a feeling this will be no sweat. I can even imagine the Python that you would write. It'd be pretty simple. Okay, now I do know that the maturity rating is formatted with with the underscore and in lowercase, but I think it should figure that out. Oh, come on. I thought you would have got that. See, there it goes. It understands. It's like, oh, you mean maturity rating, maturity rating. Oh, should have formatted it in a table. Hold on, I'll add that right after. So now can you put this in a table? How about that? Tell me that's not freaking impressive. It looks just like what they had. Thumbs up, man. So they estimate that 2 million students live in districts that were affected by a banned book ban. Why don't we just run that ourselves? Let's double check what they say. So estimate how many students total attend a school district that has banned books. Okay, so it wants clarity on what the district population column represents. Let's go look at it. So I do think it can understand tabs, but let's just download this tab and upload it again. So when I download just the CSV file, it won't bring these tabs in at the bottom. So yes, that is the total population, but you need to cross-reference with how many students 5 to 17 years old attend school in those districts. Use this file. We also might have just been able to say go to the other tab or something, but I don't know. So it recognizes there's a merge point. Let's see what it does. Okay, so I give up on that one. I think 10 million people, according to the way this was run, would actually be affected, not just the 2 million or the 3.8 after the other data set. Let's try these other numbers, see if we can get a little closer. All right, how many districts have a book ban? This should be much easier. We're gonna see if it comes up with 138 like the blog post. Okay, according to the data provided, there's 138 unique districts, so that one was easy. So how many titles were banned total? Now looking at the raw data, the way it's like initially set up, you can see the same title will come up multiple times because it needs multiple rows for the different districts which have banned it. So asking this question, how many titles have been banned, should remove duplicates and then some. How many books were banned? Hopefully it just does some logical thinking about what we mean by that. Oh, that was simple. Yep, there is 1,627. We're one off. I don't know why, but that's close enough that we're pretty much right. You know what I just thought about we could do? Why don't we try uploading this and say, can you tell me what kind of a chart this is? Maybe it can use computer vision on it. Okay, so let's upload a screenshot of it. So how would you describe the way this data is displayed? Sorry for the confusion, but I don't have the ability to view or interpret images. Okay, is there a model that could? Can Bard do that? Okay, so I'm just gonna hop over to Google's Bard just in case it can do this for us. I think it's a bit more of a multimodal model, but I haven't tried this. Okay, so it did try, although it's wrong. Now the data in the image is not a pie chart. Here is a table that provides more information about bank failures to represent a pie chart. Oh, okay. I was like, why'd you give me all this bank information? Oh, okay, so it's actually called a packed circle chart. A packed circle chart, AKA circle packing bubble cloud, is a chart type that can look like a bubble on its surface. Okay. Then they also added tags, which you can see right next to it. So titles like people and places, young adult fiction, coming of age, romance, social themes, LGBTQ, that kind of stuff. So first they had to remove the generic tags. For example, young adult fiction. How are we going to get a list of the generic tags? I guess we'd have to make that by hand. And then consolidate similar topics. Let's just dump it all in, see if it can handle it. It'd be so cool if it could. Okay, so I just said remove and then the exact same thing that he did. Generic tags with that exact example, consolidate similar topics, exact example. And then I just told it which columns. Like it might be able to figure it out, but I feel like this is a lot to ask of it. From this data set under the columns, categories, and tags. All right, I'm curious how this works out. So first it's gotta look and see how it's kind of organized here with these quotes and the comma, this kind of spacing. And then it's gonna try to remove the generic tags. Gosh, just so smart. Dude, it's funny. I mean, it kind of has the same problems I would. My apologies for the oversight. The clean tags function was defined with the previous block of code. What? You're gonna give me a little sample like that to show how I cleaned up? I didn't even ask for that. No way. You are so smart. How do you just keep amazing me? So it kept thrillers and suspense. It removed United States. It kept general. It kept romance. It replaced young adult fiction. So it's consolidated to some extent. Okay, so here's a concentration chart. Horizontal bar chart. So here activism and social theme is the biggest. Here we came up with social themes in general. And here we have people and places, LGBTQ. These are kind of matching up. This is pretty cool. Okay, I feel like we're pushing it to the limits, but can you make a packed circle chart, AKA circle packing or bubble cloud from the new tags column? I gave it a try, but that's totally wrong. Bubble chart of the top 20 tags? Meh. Let's see if we can get a word cloud. That might be a little closer to this bubble thing. So look, social themes, the biggest circle in this bubble is right there in the word cloud, just huge. Juvenile fiction, United States. I mean, it's all gonna match up with this chart. And actually the discrepancies are just the fact that I don't exactly know what they decided to like merge. But if we had that exact data, we could do the same thing right here. I'm gonna call this a big success. So here they point out that the books being banned are largely driven by age inappropriate content, which does not prove true. So they made this donut chart. We can replicate that. I'm just uploading the original data and asking for a donut chart with that column. And you can see that column here. All right, there you go. They pretty much match up. 98.7 in our data, 98.4 in their data. That's pretty much the same. So I think you should check out his final thoughts, but why don't we just have ChatGPT do some analysis for us? What are its thoughts about the data overall? Just free for all, man. Just go for it. Whatever what you tell me what you see in it. Oh my gosh, that's quite the analysis. Good thing I don't have a job in data science anymore, because that thing's definitely going to replace me. So only 32 states show up in the data set, so I assume the others don't have any banned books. So the most type of ban is where you just ban it, and then they're waiting for an investigation. So that's quick to the trigger, I guess. And then it's banned in classrooms, but could still be found in the library, a few of them, but most of them both. Okay, frequency by state, we got that from our map already, but you know, this is an easier way to see it if you don't want to generate all that map. So here it's a little bit wrong. We can see from the chart that Texas is the state with the most banned, followed by Pennsylvania, New York, Florida. But actually Texas isn't followed by Pennsylvania, so that's wrong. Then it says New York, Florida, and so on. Like, where'd New York get pushed into that top section? Caught a hallucination. See, analyzing the maturity rating column, we did that. So yeah, what it found, you know, roughly correlates to what we saw in Armin's article. But now think of how crazy it is that it did all of that with a simple upload and in under a minute. The main point here is that this is such a game changer. You can see how we really didn't have to know anything more than somebody who's just interested in solving this problem. Like, certainly a little bit of statistics would help, and kind of understanding some of the files, especially like when we needed to upload something or if we need to go to JavaScript for better visuals. But this is doable by somebody who needs to do it for work, right? They don't have to be an expert in data science. So hopefully, if you're one of the people out there that need this was helpful to you. If it was, you could do me a solid by hitting that subscribe button. My goal is to get this YouTube channel to 5,000 subscribers. Right now, we are at 4,705, so I would love to see that number go up. You know what would have been really fun is I should have thrown in some of my analytics data. Is it too late? Should I just do that? This video is so long already. I'll just do it. Just let's see what it says. I'll ask for just one interesting insight, and then we're done. Start a new chat, so none of that other stuff's in there. So tell me the most interesting thing about this data from the Curious Future YouTube channel. So there you go. The cities that like the channel the most so far: London, Sydney, Melbourne, Los Angeles, and New York. Those are awesome cities. I couldn't be more proud of that. Thanks, guys. Smash that subscribe button.